Hello viewers, it's Sentai Michael from Screen Reviews, bringing you a new podcast from my segment called the Super Sentai Review. I like always, I'm going to speak very loudly, very clearly, and very slowly, in case you don't understand me. Also, I try to do my best not to reach your heart during this art podcast recording as well, not to cause any art feedback as well. And finally, if you're under 18, this art podcast recording will change your adult language. Once again, if you're under 18, this art podcast recording will change your adult language if you're under 18. Now, if you're over 18, this means you're good to watch this audio podcast recording. Now, with this let's get into the latest episode. Let's get into the latest episode of Gozyuger. Gozyuger starts off with we see Machino telling the other Rangers, just for Hal, who is on, telling the Rangers about Benamir, the General War. So basically, Benamir is a general who worked for the Catechism that me and the Tega sword sealed away, or better known as Callus. That's the name of the great Catechism being that started the Sentai War, and we was able to seal it away. So anyway, as he was explaining that, after we sealed the Catechism away, along with the Catechism generals, we feared that one day they might survive and might come back and revive themselves in people who lost their dreams and therefore feed off them in order to revive themselves. So basically, Callus is a powerful. So basically, Callus is, as long as Callus is feeding us the ways hate and his lost dream, he probably won't be around for very long. That's Belnier. So basically, while the Rangers were digesting that information, we see how. And Hal has a delivery job, and basically she was delivering some food to his parents' house. Now Hal has not reached out to his parents once since he came back from the No.1 world a few years ago. So basically, his mom, like, oh, you're the delivery guy, and basically his stepbrothers, were all outside along with his dad and whatnot. So basically, Hal or Kwan, his brother Kwan, or Gargudo has not reached out to their parents once ever since they came back from the nowhere world, and ever since they have their activities going on. So their superhero and Venom activities going on since. So anyway, so basically, how's mom getting her for the delivery and whatnot, and basically, I hope to see you again and whatnot. And I hope to see you at house, yeah, me too. So anyway, it basically seems like, have a brief interaction, and basically once Hal delivered the food, he started to have when he was leaving, he started to have a sort of like a vision of a sword somewhere, and basically he got teleported to the Tega sword's place, and basically the Tega sword said, "What you doing here?" I don't know what I'm doing here, but I saw a vision of a sword. So I saw a visual of a sword. So basically, the Tega sword said, I understand, and basically the Tega sword transformed into his robot, in his base robot form, human-sized base form, and basically he say, "Oh, there's one final sword." I know that the Catechism forces are about to are coming back soon, and basically this final sword you see behind you will be a powerful asset towards us to taking down the Catechism forces and whatnot. But this sword has not been put, so basically the sword must be chosen to be pulled, but you have to do a test first. So basically, what type of test? Well, so pretty much it's the sword has a test for you. So basically, if you have to you have to pass the test to prove yourself worthy of the power of the sword and whatnot. So anyway, we see how stuck into, back at his parents' house, but this time, his mom and his dad know who he is, turns out that, this is some type of different world where, where he lives with his mom and dad along with his brother and whatnot, Korn and whatnot. Meanwhile, somewhere else, we see Ray talking to Benamir about, it's time to step up the stages of bringing back the Catechism forces. So basically, now Ray has 4 Sentai rings. So basically, he has the Zyuger ring, he has the Magic Ranger ring, he has the Zenkai ring, and he now has the Wheel Ranger ring as well. And, the Uchi Chintai, the space ring from Uchi Chintai, Wheel Ranger and whatnot. So anyway, he still has older captive. He still has some inner sister captive in a castle, still asleep and whatnot. So anyway, somewhere else we see Mr. Fire Candle and Miss Bouquet looking for Miss Shining Knife and Mr. Shining Knife and Miss Sweet Cake, trying to figure out what happened to them after that huge battle and whatnot. As while that was going on, we see Tega back at the headquarters torturing Kwan about betraying him. So basically, she was not happy about what went down with Mr. Sweet with the Shining Knife and Miss Sweet Cake. So basically, Queen Tega was pissed off at Kwan, how his brother Kwan, I will not picture, what you do, I will not tolerate betrayal for anybody, and that includes you. And Kwan said, I did not betray you. I admit the situation with Mr. Shining Knife. I could have tried to do a better, I could have did a better job with trying to stop Mr. Shining Knife being taken over by the Catechism, but it was just out of my control. So basically, Tega was like, make sure the next time that you do a better job. So anyway, back at how he was in his false world where he with his family, he got sucked out of that world, and basically the Tega who's watching, he said that turns out that the final sword had made a world for you where your mother, father, and brother are living together in perfect harmony, and also but at the same time we are. It also made a perfect world for you to live with your mother, father, and your brother happily. But also we got the original world where your friends right now are fighting against the Catechism right now. So basically, the other Rangers, So basically, Ray, with the help of Bellamir's power, summoned a swordsman of the Catechism to see stealing people's souls and whatnot. Basically, the Rangers morphed up and started to fight against Ray and his swordsman. And basically, Ray, Ray also transformed into different Ranger forms that he has 5 Sentai rings. So basically he transformed into the different Ranger forms and whatnot that he has of the Sentai rings and whatnot. And basically he's saying that, Belvedere was like spreading that, the catechism forces will come back soon, and soon we will bring back the catechism, aka Catholics, to destroy this world and whatnot, etc., etc., etc. So anyway, so basically, after Belvedere was done talking to Ray, the Rangers were fighting against the forces, so basically, was like, where's my sister? And basically, like, I have no need to your sister no more. So basically, but I just don't know what to do with her since I don't have no need to her. So basically, so Sunday got pissed off about that comment, and et cetera, things were not going very well with the Rangers. So basically, the Rangers were holding their own against Bedamere Way, and this catechism swordsman monster, I believe that's what it's called. And basically, Howard Washington. So basically, like, so the sword is putting you to a test. So basically, you can pull that sword out, and you can pull this final sword out and help your friends take down the help your friends out, or you can stay in your perfect world with your friend and along with your family. But if you do stay in that perfect world, that means this world, the current world that you live in will not exist anymore. So basically, once I'm so basically in the current world that you live in won't exist anymore. So once I'm gone, so it's Tega you. So basically, like, you cannot, so basically you cannot exist without the Tegasaur, so therefore, once once the current world is good, if you choose your perfect world, that means that me, Tegajun, and the catechism will not exist anymore, along with your friends as well, or the riches we are. So basically, how took a looking for the winner as his perfect world, looking for the winner as his perfect world, he decides to choose his friends and comrades and basically, like, he decides to make a choice to choose his friends and whatnot, to stay and fight and whatnot. So basically, along with the Tega sword, they was able to pull out the final sword called the real Tega sword, and basically how showed up just in time to help the other Rangers out, and use the power of the real Tega sword and the real Tega sword ring to transform into Tega sword into Tega Wolf power up form. So basically, it's a combination of. It's kind of like, it's a combination that the Tegasword is kind of fused, or it's kind of fused with How and whatnot. So basically, it's like a power up form. Like, he kind of has like the base armor and these arms around his chest. It's kind of like imagine the Tegasword fused with the Rangers and whatnot, working together as a team. So basically, he used the power of the real Tegasword. It basically took down the Cassidy swordsman and whatnot, and basically took down the swordsman, and basically the catechism swordsman, and basically saved the others from, and basically saved the day. But Bedamere took over Rio's body and basically made himself grow, and Tegajun was like, Tegajun decided to help out, and basically, appear in the humor, started to fight against Bedamere, and basically, like, she was real pissed off. She does not want the catechism to come back, and destroy this world, because she wants to be in this world with the Tegasword along with her child, Goodburn and whatnot. So basically, the Tegajun, put up a good fight, but Bedamere forced Tegajun to retreat, and Bedamere is like, Tegajun, looks like Tegajun and the bridal could be a much bigger threat than I thought. But we just have to see. I mean, we just have to, but the final stage is happening. Is already the final stage of the characters or is the final stage is already been put in motion. So basically, the Gozyu's Tega and the Bridal will all be dealt with very soon. So anyway, after that battle was over, Hal had another delivery back at his parents' house, and basically, they ordered pizza and whatnot, and basically Hal delivered the pizza and whatnot, and basically, Hal's mother was like, oh, the delivery man before, it's good to see you again, and Hal was like, yeah, it's good to see you, and basically he kept his hat low, and basically, it seems like Hal's mother is is starting to recognize who he seems like she's starting to recognize who he is, but she's not sure about it, but etc. etc. So basically Hal is Hal was oh you must be mistaking me for somebody else. So anyway, Hal left his parents' house once again, and basically Hal's mother was talking to Hal's dad, and Hal's dad is that boy does remind me of someone, but I'm hoping that one day that we will that I will figure out who he really is, and basically Hal ended with this. We're in it that we're hoping that one day soon he will work up the courage to tell his tell his mother and father that who he really is and whatnot, and this is how the episode ended on this note. So anyway, this was a good episode and whatnot for a new power up, but for a final power up, but we don't know this could be the final power up for the Gozyugers as of yet, because it's been a while since we see a Sixth Ranger have a power up in Sentai yet, so who knows. Gozyu could have his own power-up form very soon, but we just have to wait and see. So anyway, what do you guys think about the latest episode of Gozyuger? Good, bad, or just okay, or just mad? Please let me know in the comments below. Anyway, signing off. Let's reviews. 1.